Okay, we want to use our calculator to factor this. To find factor, I'm going to go to Catalog. Factor starts with the letter F, so I can go to F. The very first choice is factor. So I'm going to push Enter. Then I'm just going to type in my equation with the close parentheses, and I'm done. There we go. It factored it for us. Let's take a closer look. Okay, let's factor this one. Okay, let's do that one more time. We'll go to Catalog, letter F. You'll see factor, push Enter. Push the close parentheses. Make sure you don't mix up the minus with the negative. The minus goes between two things. The negative just goes in front of a number. Okay, push Enter. There you go. Let's zoom in. You can see it better. And there's your answer. Okay, now I wrote the factored answer on my paper right there, and we're done. Okay, now we're going to use our calculator to find the derivative. I always like to go to F1 and then 8, just to clear everything out. And if I push clear, it'll clear that bottom line right there. Now I want the derivative. Obviously, that's in the calculus menu. It's the first thing. But there's an easier way. The easiest way would be using second and then 8, because there's a D right there. Now, anytime you get a left parentheses, you want to put a right parentheses before you forget. Now, we'll go back inside those two parentheses, and we'll type in our function. We want to do the derivative of sine of x squared. So I'm going to do parentheses squared, and I'll go back in, and I'll type the sine function. The sine function is going to be second, and this blue one that says sine. Now it only gave me the left parentheses, so I need to put the right one. And I'll go back in, it's going to be sine of x. After you write your function that you want to do your derivative of, you're going to put comma and x. And that's telling your calculator that you're doing the derivative with respect to x. Now I'll push Enter. Now the good thing about the TI-89 is it does have this pretty print, so it shows you the derivative that it did. Take a look at it, make sure it looks right. The 2 should come down, the new power is 1, and then you got to do the derivative of sine, and it gives you the cosine. Okay, so there's your answer. Okay, on this example, we're doing the derivative of the inverse, but we're just going to use our calculator to solve the equation for us. You don't actually need a calculator to solve this one. It's pretty easy, but I still want to show you how to use your calculator to solve it for you, just in case you get a difficult one to solve. So on this problem, they're asking us to find the derivative of the inverse when x is 7. Remember, that's the x value for the inverse, so it really would be the y value for the original function. So we're plugging it in the y value for the original function. And now we want to solve this because that'll tell us the x value that we want to go right here in our final answer. Remember, your final answer is 1 over f prime of x, but we need to figure out what x is it. If we solve this equation, that'll tell us the x value that we're going to use at that spot. So we need to solve this equation, and we're just going to do it with the graphing calculator. So let's have a look. Okay, again, I always like doing F1, 8, just to clear everything out. Push the clear button to clear that home line. And now we want to solve. So just go to F2, it's the very first thing. You can push Enter. Or you can go to Catalog. You want to look for the letter S. If you look right here, we have a Q, an R, an S. So the 3 will be the S. Again, I'm looking for solve. You got to scroll down. Okay, when you find solve, just push Enter. That's another way to get solve. Again, I want you to notice that you do get the left parentheses, but you don't get the right one. So let's put the right one. We'll go back inside. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to solve an equation, but we want to solve it for the letter x. So I'm going to put comma x. And now all I have to do is just put the equation here, and I'm done. So let's type in that equation. Then we push Enter. It tells us that the answer is x equals 2. And that's it. Okay, now we know the solution to this equation is x equals 2. Remember, we're doing the derivative of the inverse. So it's just going to be 1 over the derivative of this. And we just figured out that we want to use x equals 2 for the x. So the bottom is 5 times 16, which is 80. Final answer, 1 over 80. Okay, here we're trying to solve this equation where sine of x is equal to 1/2. Here's a sine function right here. You can see that it continues on in each direction forever. Where does sine equal 1/2? Well, there's a lot of answers. We just want the answers from 0 to 3 pi. You can visually see where those 4 answers are. But we want to just type this in our graphing calculator and let it do the work for us. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look. I'm going to do F18 just to clear everything. Push the clear button to clear the bottom line. And again, I just want to solve this equation. So I'm going to go to F2. First choice is solve. Of course, you can get that with catalog as well. Don't forget the right parentheses. We'll go back inside. We want to solve it for x, so I'm going to do comma x. Go back in there, and now we'll type in the equation. Sine of x equals 1/2. To get sine, we do blue, and then the y, because that's where the blue sign is. It gives you the left parentheses, so you have to put the right. It's sine of x, so we'll go back inside and type x. Go back outside. We want it to equal 1/2. So equals 1 divided by 2. The problem is if I push enter, it's going to give me some weird rule about how to find the solution. If you look here, it says at n1. Well, that's meant to just be an integer. But it gives me some weird rule. I don't want that. I want all the answers. Just tell me what the answers are. So we want to go between 0 and 3 pi. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the evaluate button right over here, evaluate, and we're just going to say from 0 to 3 pi. Now, if you have a newer graphing calculator, you can just type in 0. To get less than or equal to, you push green, 0. That'll give you less than or equal to. Then x. And then again, green, less than or equal to. And we want 3 pi. The pi button, you push blue, and then the pi. Now, if I push enter, it might not work because I think this uses the old operating system. Let's check. Yeah, this is the old operating system. And some of your graphing calculators, if you buy them, they might have the old operating system. So instead of saying that x is going to be between 0 and 3 pi, we're going to say that x is greater than or equal to 0 and x is less than or equal to 3 pi. So let's have a look. So x greater than or equal to 0. Now I want and. If you don't know where and is, just go to catalog, type in a. Very first thing, or actually second thing, says and. Okay, let's take a look at what this says now at the end. It says evaluate it where x is greater than or equal to 0 and x is less than or equal to 3 pi. Now this will work with the new operating system or the old one. Let's check. We'll push enter. And it gave me all 4 of the answers. 17/6 pi, 13/6 pi. Let's see what the other answers are. 5 pi 6 and pi 6. Okay, if you look to the right, you'll see that I wrote all those x values on the x-axis. And that's it. Now I do want to note that my calculator is in auto mode. This is important. If you click on mode and you go down to the bottom, you can choose between auto, exact, or approximate. You want to leave it on exact. Let me show you why. When it's on exact and you push enter, it gives you the exact value, which means it gives it to you in fraction form. And if you ever want the estimate, you just push green and then enter, and then it will give you all the decimal approximations. If you want to give a decimal approximation, you would just truncate. So you would list the 3, you would write the first 3 decimals. So for example, 8.901, and that's it. 6.806, and that's it. And they would also accept if you round it. So you could put 6.807 if you wanted to.